Donald Trump's former Attorney General Bill Barr, who often lacked a spine because he was afraid of being called mean names by the Democrats, so he didn't really indict many Black Lives Matter or Antifa members or any Democrats for really anything, and then later went on to say some terrible things about Donald Trump, has now endorsed Donald Trump, and that is making the liberal media very upset.
So just to be clear, you're voting for someone who you believe tried to subvert the peaceful transfer of power, that can't even achieve his own policies, that lied about the election even after his attorney general told him that the election wasn't stolen. And as the former chief law enforcement in this country, you're going to vote for someone who is facing 88 criminal counts.
Well, look, the 88 criminal counts, a lot of those are, and I've said...
Even if 10 of them are accurate.
The answer to the question is yes. I'm supporting the Republican ticket.
But can you say that you're voting for Donald Trump? Because you're not saying his name. You just say you're supporting the Republican ticket.
I've said, as between Biden and Trump, I will vote for Trump. The threat to freedom and democracy has always been on the left. It's the collectivist, socialist agenda. And that is where we're losing our freedom. Parents are losing the freedom to control their children's education.
Our borders being overrun, the government is just printing money like it's growing on trees and trying to buy college kids' votes by forgiving their student loans. CNN is so upset about this interview, which occurred on Friday, that yesterday, on Monday, their lead story was them complaining about it.
Tonight, an exclusive window directly into the disconnect at the heart of our current national politics. A window that was thrown wide open by former Attorney General Bill Barr right here on The Source.
They spent half the show complaining about the endorsement, which, of course, made it to Donald Trump's ears, who then responded on Truth Social saying, wow, former Attorney General Bill Barr, who let a lot of great people down by not investigating, well, things you're not supposed to question if you're a Republican, just endorsed me for president, despite the fact that I called him weak, slow-moving, lethargic, gutless, and lazy. Based on the fact that I greatly appreciate his wholehearted endorsement, I am removing the word lethargic from my statement. Thank you, Bill. MSNBC also fumed about the endorsement all day because it's a major setback for their gaslighting agenda. I'll spare you the clip of Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski because they sound like a broken record every day. This clip, however, from the White House Press Correspondents Association dinner, which occurred over the weekend, does perfectly capture the confusion that the Democrats have because so many people still support President Trump and their gaslighting isn't working as they had planned. This is Saturday Night Live's Colin Jost, who was the comedian there to try to lighten the mood for the evening.
There is an election. There's an election 6 extremely long months from now. So let me see if I can summarize where this race stands at this moment. The Republican candidate for president owes $500 million in fines for bank fraud and is currently spending his days farting himself awake during a porn star hush money trial, and the race is tied?
It's not a joke. He's just expressing his frustration.
The race is tied.
Yes.
Nothing makes sense anymore.
Fact check. Things do make sense. It's obvious that, thankfully, half the country doesn't believe the fake news coming from the mainstream media industrial complex. Would you like to share your latest delusions with the audience, Nicole Wallace?
This time next year, I might not be sitting here. There might not be a White House Correspondents' Dinner or a free press. While our democracy wouldn't exactly fall apart immediately without it, the real threat looms larger. A candidate with outward disdain, not just for a free press, but for all of our freedoms and for the rule of law itself.
I'm still not sure if they're just blatantly lying to their moronic audience or if people who work for CNN and MSNBC are this delusional that they actually would think that if Donald Trump wins the election, that he's just going to take them off the air. But Democrat Congresswoman Primala Jayapal from Washington State accidentally admitted the real story behind all of these indictments that they've levied against President Trump.
And, you know, I go back to the responsibility of Congress here, because had the Senate actually gone through with the impeachment of Donald Trump,
Hello.
we would not be in this situation.
Oh, so they didn't indict him with all of these alleged crimes because he supposedly committed any of them. They only indicted him because the Senate didn't vote to actually impeach him, which then would have made him ineligible to run again this time around. And there was another rare instance of honesty on MSNBC when Nasty Pelosi was spewing nonsense, and then anchor Katie Tur surprisingly fact-checked her right to her face, and that really made her even more angry.
And Joe Biden is doing that, created 9 million jobs in his term in office. Donald Trump has the worst record of job loss of any president. So we just have to make sure people know.
That was a global pandemic.
Yes, the job losses during the Trump administration were due to COVID. And then once the lockdowns ended, everybody was able to go back to work. Then old Joe took credit for that.
He had the worst record of any president. We've had other concerns in our country. If you want to be an apologist for Donald Trump, that may be your role, but it ain't mine. And he has the worst.
I don't think that anybody can accuse me of that.
Yes, because MSNBC is known to employ Trump apologists. First, it was fake news that went viral through Facebook that was critical of Hillary Clinton that cost her the election. And then, you may recall, a few weeks later, they concocted the big Russiagate conspiracy that was fake news, not just spread through Facebook, but fake news created by the Russians. But now they have discovered the real reason that Hillary Clinton lost back in 2016. Wait for it.
That this could be meaningful, and it probably would have been meaningful if this had come out before Election Day.
You're talking about the payment to silence Sloppy Daniels.
My guess is that election was so close, this would have changed enough minds or demotivated people on the Republican side that it would have made a difference in the election. So they made a calculated effort, and we'll find out if it was illegal or legal by whether or not he's convicted by a jury. They made a calculated effort to take a legal chance to hide information or to seek to hide information so they could win the election so it wouldn't come out. That is, I'm sure, what the calculus was.
And this circus of a trial may go on for another 2 or 3 weeks or even longer. And since I watch the liberal media so that you don't have to, this is the only thing that you miss by not tuning in that is worth seeing.
And now we come to exactly what they're considering here, which
fake news, what's up?
is the question of whether a president has absolute immunity. And then there's a second question here, which is whether anything that Donald Trump is accused of would actually constitute a presidential act implicated in the immunity question.
Just making sure you're okay. Is everything okay? We hear someone yelling.
Yeah, it's fine. We have a heckler here outside the Supreme Court.
I've got to say, they obviously have been...
Well, I've got to say something to cut you off, because at this point you are a complete embarrassment to the network. Something that's not embarrassing, however, is saving 10% off of any of my shirts at markdice.com by using the promo code SAVE10 at the checkout. Today is the last day for that, by the way. It's just a special promo code that the distributor was running. So if you want to order your Christ is King shirt, a free the January 6 hostages, a sorry no vacancy, deport them all shirt, or any of my awesome designs, and save 10%, head on over to markdice.com or click the link in the description below, enter the promo code SAVE10 at the checkout, and check them out.